Hello everyone. So today we are continuing the same chapter we did yesterday, and that was chapter number 11, the human eye and the colorful world. So as we have seen the human eye and the schematic diagram of the human eye, we also saw the power of accommodation. The ability of eye lens to adjust its focal length is also known as power of accommodation. Fine, the ability of the eye lens to adjust its focal length is known as accommodation. As we have seen, the near point of a human eye is 25 centimeter and the far point of the human eye is infinity. So, a visible range for a normal human being lies between 25 centimeter to infinity. We also saw the defects of vision. One of the common defects was found to be a cataract, in which the old age people, the eyes layer become milky and cloudy. This also leads to the partial or complete loss of vision. It is possible to restore a vision through a cataract surgery. Fine. So yesterday we did about the defects of vision and the correction. The first thing was the myopia. Myopia is also known as nearsightedness. Myopia is also known as nearsightedness. In myopia, a person can see the nearby objects clearly but cannot see the distant objects clearly. Okay, and so a person with this defect has the far point near than the infinity, as you can see in the figure number 11.2, that the figure is formed before the retina. Okay, so we need a correction of this lens, and the correction for the myopia is the concave lens. The correction for the myopia is concave lens. There are two main reasons due to this defect arise. They were the excessive curvature of the eye lens and the elongation of the eyeball. Excessive curvature of the eye lens and the elongation of the eyeball. Okay. I hope you are clear with this. Myopia is known as nearsightedness. We can see nearby objects clearly but cannot see far objects clearly. The excessive curvature of the eye lens and elongation of the eyeball are the main two problems due to which the myopia occurs, and the concave lens is the correction for this. Fine. The next thing what we learned yesterday was the hypermetropia. This hypermetropia is also known as farsightedness. A person with hypermetropia can see far or say the distant objects clearly but cannot see nearby objects clearly. And thus you can see in the figure 11.3 that the object is formed, image is formed beyond retina. Actually it should form on the retina. Actually it should form on the retina. Okay. So here we need a correction for the hypermetropic eye, and the correction for the hypermetropic eye is a convex lens. It is a convex lens. There are two main problems due to this defect arises. The first is the focal length of the eye lens is too long. The focal length of the eye lens is too long. And the second one is the eyeball has become too small. The eyeball has become too small. Okay, I hope you are clear with this. So hypermetropia is known as farsightedness. You can see far objects clearly but cannot see nearby objects clearly. And the second thing was what? That the focal length of the eye lens is too long or the eyeball has become too small. Convex lens is the correction for the hypermetropic eye. And then the third defect was the presbyopia. The presbyopia is usually seen in the aged people, and it is due to the weakening of the ciliary muscles. As I told you earlier that the ciliary muscles are responsible for the divergence and the convergence of the human eye. But as the age increases, these ciliary muscles get weak, and so they cannot be stretched up to certain limit, and thus we cannot see the far objects clearly as well as the distant objects clearly. And for this correction we need a bifocal lens. Here the bifocal lens means a lens which composes of both the concave lens as well as the convex lens. Fine. Here the upper portion of the bifocal lens consists of a concave lens which is used to see the distant vision clearly, whereas the lower part is of convex lens which is used to see the nearby vision clearly. But these days, this presbyopia can also be removed by using a contact lenses or the surgical operations. Fine, I hope you are clear with the presbyopia. Presbyopia is due to the weakening of the ciliary muscles usually seen in old age peoples. Okay, we are using the bifocal lens for the correction of this defect. Bifocal stands for both the convex and the concave lenses. Okay, the upper portion of the part is the concave lens, facilitates the distant vision. The lower part is of a convex lens, facilitates the near vision. It can also be removed by a contact lens or a surgical operations. Fine. So today we will move on to the next topic. No, we did one more topic yesterday, and that was the refraction of a light through a prism. The refraction of a light through a prism shows us that whenever the light is passing through a triangular glass slab, and that is also known as prism, it bends. So over here in this figure you can see that the ray PQ is entering at point E, where point E is the incident ray with the normal. So it bends towards the normal, because once the light goes from thinner medium to thicker medium, it bends. The light bends from thinner medium to thicker medium, it bends. Okay, again the light goes into the straight line and it bends again. So we can see that whenever the light goes from thicker medium to thinner medium, it bends away from the normal. Fine, I hope you are clear with this. So here over here angle I is said to be the angle of incidence, angle R is said to be the angle of refraction, angle E is said to be an emergent ray or the angle of emergence, and the angle D, that is exactly in between of both the imaginary lines over here, and that is said to be the angle of deviation. Fine, and the A, that is angle between two lines of the prism, and said to be angle of prism. I hope you are clear with this, students. Okay, so today we are going towards the next topic, and that is the dispersion of a white light by a glass prism. So students, have you seen a rainbow, and how does it happen? What is the phenomena for the rainbow? Do you know that? So the first thing is, what is rainbow? So whenever we have seen in this rainy season, there is some sort of sunlight present over there. The light gets refracted by the rainy water drops. Okay, and thus these raindrops creates a rainbow. So whenever light falls on a white surface or a plain surface, it gets refracted and produces 7 colors. These 7 colors are abbreviated as VIBGYOR. That is VIBGYOR. That is violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange and red. Violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange and red. Okay, so we can also make this rainbow artificial by using a glass prism. Whenever a white light is incident on a glass prism, you can find that the 7 color band is obtained. Okay, so let us read this. The dispersion of a white light by a glass prism. You must have seen and appreciated the spectacular colors in a rainbow. How could the white light of the sun give us various colors of the rainbow? Before we take up this question, we shall first go back to the refraction of a light through a prism. The inclined refracting surfaces of a glass prism shows exciting phenomena. See, they have given over here the activity. No doubt the activity is of no use for us, but we will read this because we can know how to do the experiment on this. So activity 11.2, take a thick sheet of the cardboard and make a small hole or a narrow slit in its middle. Okay, what we need to do is we need to take a thick sheet of cardboard and make a small hole or a narrow slit in its middle. Allow sunlight to fall on the narrow slit. This gives a narrow beam of the white light. Now take a glass prism and allow the light from the slit to fall on one of its faces. Turn prism slowly until the light that comes out of it appears on a nearby screen. Okay, turn the prism slowly until the light that comes out of it appears on a nearby screen. What do you observe? You will find the beautiful bands of color. Fine, you will find the beautiful bands of color. So this is also known as the dispersion of light, and the dispersion of light in a common language is also known as the splitting of white light. The splitting of white light. Okay. The prism has probably split the incident white light into a band of 7 colors. The prism has probably split the incident white light into the band of 7 colors. Note the color that appears at the end of the color band. What is the sequence of this color? The various color scenes are violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange and red. You can also write in the form of acronym VIBGYOR. Will help here to remember the sequence of the color. Fine. The first color will be the violet from down, and the last will be the red color, The band of colored components of a light beam is also known as spectrum. The band of the colored components of a light beam is also called its spectrum. You might not be able to see all the colors separately, yet something makes each color distinct from one another. The splitting of white light into component color is also known as dispersion. Students, you please note these things. The band of the colored components of a light beam, is called its spectrum. You might not be able to see all the colors separately, yet something makes each color distinct from other. The splitting of white light into component colors is called dispersion. The splitting of white light into component colors is called dispersion. You have seen that white light is dispersed into its 7 components by a prism. Different colors of light bend through a prism and with respect to the incident ray as they passes through a prism. The red light bends the least while the violet light bends the most. Please note that, students, the red light bends the least while the violet light bends the most. Thus the rays of each color emerge along the different path and thus becomes clear. Okay, I hope you will understand this. Whenever the white light is incident on any glass surface, it gets refracted and produces the 7 colors. It is also known as spectrum, and the phenomena of producing a spectrum, that is the splitting of white light into component colors, is called dispersion. It is also known as dispersion. The red light bends the least while the violet light bends the most. Fine. So this was also known as the dispersion of a white light by a glass prism. The dispersion of a white light by a glass prism. I hope you have understand this. But at the time when the spectrum was produced, or say they invented, or say when we invented the dispersion of white light by a glass prism, Newton was present, and Newton have experiment almost on every aspects of the physics. So what happened? Newton tried various projects on the glass prism. What he tried, let us see. Isaac Newton was the first to use a glass prism to obtain the spectrum of a sunlight. Okay, Isaac Newton was the first to use a glass prism to obtain the spectrum of a sunlight. He tried to split the colors of the spectrum of white light further by using another similar prism. Got the point? What he did? He did that if one prism can make 7 colors, that was the violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange and red, can I make or can I keep the more number of prisms side by side? If we can keep the more number of prism side by side, can I get the more number, that is say the 14 colors, the 21 colors of different aspects? So he tried by keeping more number of prisms side by side and thus passed the white light into it. But in that he had a failure. That how many of prisms he kept, only 7 colors were produced, and he came to a conclusion that there are only 7 colors produced around it. And they were violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. So what he did, he made another experiment using this, and that was also known as the recombination of the spectrum of white light. The recombination of the spectrum of a white light. Here Isaac Newton, he tried to split the colors of the spectrum of white light by using another similar prism, but he could not get any more colors. Then the second experiment was, he then placed a second identical prism in an inverted position with respect to the first prism. He then placed a second identical prism in an inverted position with respect to the first prism. Okay. Then he saw that whenever the white light was passing through the prism, it made the 7 colors. But the 7 colors when passed through the inverted prism, these 7 colors when passed through the inverted prism, he got the white light again. He got the white light again. This shows that whenever the two recombined prism are kept together, we are getting another white light again. So this is also known as the recombination of spectrum of white light. The recombination of the spectrum of white light. This is also known as the inverted prism diagrams. This allowed all the colors of the spectrum to pass through the second prism. He found a beam of white light emerging from the other side of the second prism. This observation gave Newton the idea that the sunlight is made up of 7 colors. Any light that gives a spectrum similar to that of sunlight is also known as a white light. Okay students, the sunlight is also said to be a white light because anything that can give us a 7 color is known as white light. Anything that gives us the 7 colors is known as the white light. For the same thing, rainbow is considered to be a natural spectrum appearing in the sky after the rain shower. Rainbow is a natural spectrum appearing in the sky after the rain shower. It is caused by the dispersion of sunlight by tiny water droplets. Present in the atmosphere. A rainbow is always formed in a direction opposite to that of sun. A rainbow, please note that this can be asked in the MCQs. Okay students, a rainbow is always formed in the direction opposite to that of sun. The water droplets will act like a prism, as I told you earlier. Whenever the sunlight is falling on a small prism, it is going to give you a 7 colors. The same thing is happening over here. Whenever the sunlight falls on the raindrop, it acts like a small prism. They refract and disperse the incident sunlight, then reflect it internally, and finally refract it again when it comes out of the raindrop. Due to the dispersion of light and internal reflection, different colors reach the observer's eye, and that is known as the rainbow. You can also see a rainbow on a sunny day when you look at the sky through a waterfall or through a water fountain with the sun behind you. Okay, the same thing is happening over here. So I hope you are clear with the formation of the rainbow. The white light to 7 colors, that is the spectrum through a glass prism, and the recombination of the white light, that is also known as Newton's law of recombination of white light. The Newton's law of recombination of the white light. Okay. So today we are also going to start one more new topic, and that is known as atmospheric refraction. You know, students, what is atmospheric refraction? The whole atmosphere is filled with different types of gases, that is nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, and many other gases, helium, etc. The atmosphere is also full of smoke, fog, smog, etc., and various colloidal particles which we cannot see with the bare eyes. But the thing is, the layer is so thick that whenever the sunlight is coming into our eyes, it gets bent. And thus we can see the objects in its apparent position rather than its real position. The objects in its apparent position rather than its real position. This is because of the refractive index, because the air becomes hotter in air rather than down. Let's see it. So what is the atmospheric refraction? The atmospheric refraction. You might have observed the apparent random wavering or the flickering of objects seen through a turbulent stream of hot air rising above a fire or a radiator. Yes, we have seen the waves of a white light, or say the fire that is producing the blue colored lights. Fine. The air just above the fire becomes hotter than the air further up. The hotter air is lighter than the cooler air above it. The hotter air is lighter than the cooler air above it and has a refractive index slightly less than that of a cooler air. Since the physical conditions of the refracting medium are not stationary, the apparent position of the object as seen through the hot air fluctuates. This wavering is thus an effect of atmospheric refraction. On a small scale in our local environment. The twinkling of star is similar phenomena on a much larger scale. You have seen, students, the light is flickering, or we can also say that the twinkling stars. These twinkling stars, actually the stars are not twinkling. The stars have a constant light. But what happens whenever the atmosphere is changing its size or the changing its volume from thicker to thinner to thicker, we can see that the light gets twinkled. Actually, the light is not twinkling, it is the atmosphere that is continuously changing its size, and so we can see that that is the twinkling of stars. Okay, so the next thing is twinkling of stars. You have seen that the stars look twinkle as well as changing its position. Sometimes there is no changing of the position, but due to the refraction of light of the sunlight, that is the sunlight bends, and we can say that the light is changing its position. The twinkling of star is due to the atmospheric refraction of starlight. The twinkling of star is due to the atmospheric refraction of a starlight. Please note that point, students, that is quite important to us. The starlight on entering the Earth's atmosphere, undergoes refraction continuously before it reaches the Earth. The atmospheric refraction occurs in a medium of gradually changing refractive index. The atmospheric refraction occurs in a medium of gradually changing refractive index. Since the atmosphere bends the starlight towards the normal, as I told you, everything has a normal, that is the imaginary perpendicular line passing through the surface area. The star appears slightly higher than its actual position and viewed near the horizon. Here students, horizon is an imaginary horizontal line passing through the surface of the earth. It is the imaginary horizontal line passing through the surface of the earth. This apparent position of the star is not stationary, but keeps on changing slightly, since the physical conditions of the Earth's atmosphere are not stationary, as was the case in the previous paragraph. Since the stars are very distant, they approximate point-sized sources of the light. As the path of the rays of light coming from the star goes on varying slightly, the apparent position of the star fluctuates and the amount of starlight entering the eye flickers. The stars sometimes appear brighter and at the sometimes it's fainter. Here fainter stands for dim, dull. Okay. The star entering the eye flickers. The stars sometimes appear brighter and at the some other times it fainter, which is also known as the twinkling effects of the star. It is also known as the twinkling effects of the stars. Fine. So this is the main thing what we learned today, and that is the twinkling of the stars. Then the next topic is, why don't planets twinkle? Why don't planets twinkle? See students, the planets are more closer to the earth as they are considered to be the extended sources. Fine. In our galaxy, the 9 planets are much nearer to that of earth than considered to be the stars. And so what happens if we consider a planet as a collection of large number of point-sized sources of light? If we consider a planet as a collection of large number of point-sized sources of light, the total variation in the amount of light entering our eye from the individual point-sized sources will to be 0, and therefore they will nullify the twinkling effect. I hope students you are clear with this. See, the planets are very near to that of Earth than that of stars, and so the planets are considered to be the point-sized objects. The planets are considered to be the point-sized objects. The total variation in the amount of light entering our eye from all the individual point sources will average out to be 0. Thereby, they will nullify the twinkling effects. Okay. I hope you are clear with why the planets do not twinkle. This is give reason in our exercise. The give reason can be also asked that why the twinkling of stars happens. We have known the atmospheric refraction. The light bends in the atmosphere due to the different types of gases present into the atmosphere. Fine. We have also seen the recombination of the spectrum of light by a white light. That was also known as the Newton's law of spectrum of white light. We have also seen the dispersion of white light by a glass prism. The white light which gives the spectrum of 7 colors is also known as spectrum, and the splitting of white light into 7 colors is known as dispersion. Okay, so we are going to keep here till today. We will continue from tomorrow. If you are having doubts and queries, you can please let me know. Thank you.